May this water cast out all impurities from my substance. As from lead to gold, as the falling rain cleanses the air, thus I am cleansed and at peace, and made whole before the gods. I am tranquil, and before the divinities, which it is pious to invoke, and stand prepared, humble, and with good faith. It is so. all divinities that witness what we do here, purify this place. Allow it to be ready to receive you. Depart, O depart, those not here to make the profanus Sacra. All remain in your attention. Silence. Hold your tongues. The ceremony begins. Vesta, Mother, also known as the perpetual guardian of the hearth, family and community, queen of the perennial fire, protector of the Roman people. Vesta, unless you prefer some other name, I pray and beseech you to attend this Ludi Apollinares. Upon this Ludi Apollinares, may your favor be present, and in doing so, allow for good greetings and offerings to be made to you and those gods and goddesses which it is good to call upon. In doing so, may you allow your pious smoke to rise to the heavens. By this act, remind me of noble virtues. Mother Vesta, to you my voice lifts in praise, as by this right and through your benevolence I am allowed to approach you. As your sacred flame in the past demonstrated divine good faith, allow your sovereignty to reign over the fire before us. As you attended the Roman people of old, attend to your Roman people of the present. Queen of the perennial fire, on this Ludi Apollinares, and if it is your will, grant your aid to all who identify as Roman today, especially those who are facing hardship. In particular, those who face violence directed toward them or struggle with persecution, natural disaster, sickness, uncertainty, or despair. For all of these causes be present and kindle the flames before us. For your kind support, I shall offer wine in hopes that it is pleasing to you. Vesta, Queen of the perennial fire, your flame is present, and we say good prayers. Janus, Father, from whom all things proceed, biform God, heavenly gatekeeper, good creator, the God of good beginnings, and the years gliding by in silence, who alone among the immortal celestials sees his own back. Janus, or unless you prefer some other name, I pray and beseech you to attend to this Ludi Apollinares. With your kind favor, open the way forward, and aid our task at hand. Janus, on this day of the Ludi Apollinares, facilitate communication with yourself, then Vesta, Apollo, Jupiter, Quirinus, Diana, and Asclepius, and all the gods and goddesses for which it is pious to recognize. Janus, as you allowed Rome to rise to great heights, allow that your Roman people of the present have good beginnings. As you enabled pious contact with the divine in the past, now allow such contact in the present and future. With a nod Open your gleaming gates on the peaceful precincts and favor all who identify as Roman today, especially those who are facing hardship. In particular, those who face violence directed towards them or struggle with persecution, natural disaster, sickness, uncertainty, or despair. Welcome the fine beginning of this Ludi Apollinares. Towards these ends be increased by this offering of wine made before you now. Janus, it has been done. Mother Vesta, also known as the perpetual guardian of the hearth, family, and community, queen of the perennial fire, protector of the Roman people, if it is your will to attend this ceremony on this day of the Ludi Apollinares, and if it is pleasing to you, be increased by this offering of wine made before you now. Vesta, it has been done. Apollo, also known as the radiant light, twin of Diana, healer, aider, protector Apollo, or by what other styles you wish to be addressed, by your majesty attend this Ludi Apollinares. Radiant Apollo, long have you been kind to the Roman people. During times of strife, when darkness was descending upon our ancestors, you provided your protection and light. We recall your benevolence in lifting plagues and offering defense during the darkest periods of the Second Punic War. We recall that for these kind acts, and in your honor, the ancient Ludi Apollinares was instituted. Today, we remember your benevolence and seek it again, just as our ancestors of antiquity provided you good petitions at this time of year. Savior Apollo, on this Ludi Apollinares, and if it is your will, grant your aid to all who identify as Roman today, especially those who are facing hardship, in particular those who face violence directed towards them, or struggle with persecution, natural disaster, sickness, uncertainty, or despair. Protect your Res Publica Romana community from harm that may threaten it, be it in the form of maliciousness of mortals, pestilence, or ignorance. Towards these ends be increased by this offering of frankincense, burned before you now, and if it pleases you. Apollo, it is done. Father Jupiter, also known as the elicited striker defender, you are sovereign of the gods and goddesses, Lord of heaven, and the best and greatest divinity. Jupiter, unless you prefer some other name, by your majesty attend this Ludi Apollinares. Jupiter, the best and greatest, you are the divine king of the Roman people. For this reason, you long protected and guarded our Roman ancestors. You protected them from harm and guided them towards rising up civilization that still provides its bounty today. Through the hardships borne and through your benevolent aid, you shaped a people who strove to emulate divine virtue across the mortal globe. Father Jupiter, on this Ludi Apollinares, and if it is your will, grant your aid to all who identify as Roman today, especially those who are facing hardship, in particular those who face violence directed towards them, or struggle with persecution, natural disaster, sickness, uncertainty, or despair. Protect your Res Publica community from harm that may threaten it. In doing so, guide its leaders and inspire pious acts that serve worthy of the name of Rome. Towards these ends, be increased by this offering of frankincense, burned before you now, and if it pleases you. Jupiter, it is done. Father Quirinus, and the divine founder of Rome, the builder of the first wall of the eternal city, the wielder of the spear, protector of the community, who walked the earth as Romulus, the son of Mars, Quirinus, the first worldly monarch of the Romans, and the father of Modius Dabidius, the founder of cures, the divine father who is tranquil but diligently armed and always ready to defend his children, the God who unifies the Roman populace into one civic people in his name, Quirinus. You are the divine father of all the people who identify as Roman, the benefactor of the Roman man and women at home and in public. For whatever name you please be hallowed, I pray and beseech you to attend this Ludi Apollinares. Father Quirinus, since upon your will the city of Rome rose forth, you protected the people gathered in your name. You have defended the Roman people who have admired your name. You are the stalwart defender, and long has sacred smoke risen to you in thanks of the supremacy you wield. Great wielder of the spear, Quirinus, on this Ludi Apollinares, and if it is your will, grant your aid to all who identify as Roman today, especially those who are facing hardship, in particular those who face violence directed towards them, or struggle with persecution, natural disasters, sickness, uncertainty, or despair. Protect the members of the Roman community of today from any harm that may threaten them. In doing so, let your community know, and let our fellowship grow to great heights under your divine defense and auspices. Towards these ends, be increased by this offering of frankincense, burned before you now, and if it pleases you. Quirinus, it is done. You are called Diana, goddess of the woods, celestial bringer of aid, and the wandering one, helper of childbirth, sovereign of the wilds, the unifier of the genus with the lifeblood of the body, sister of Apollo, the queen of the huntress, first known by the Sabines and introduced to our ancestors by King Servilius Tullius. Diana, of whatever style you wish to be addressed, by your majesty, attend this Ludi Apollinares. Diana, bringer of aid, long have you been close, assisting our Roman ancestors. You guided the generations from the womb and into the unknown of death, bringing forth the life-giving consecutive generations. You guided our ancestors into the unknown wilds, enabling the nameless remote to be charted and tamed. Radiant Diana, sister of Apollo, on this Ludi Apollinares, celebrated for your divine twin, and if it is your will, grant your aid to all who identify as Roman today, especially those who are facing the unknowns of hardship. In particular, assist those who carry a child or are youthful and innocent during such difficult times. Guide those who have little means to defend themselves or overcome seemingly insurmountable barriers. Through such favor, may you allow our Roman community to grow through the generations. In doing so, may we be increasingly aware of your divine sovereignty, along with your influence upon the union of the untamed physical body with the divine genus of the individual. Towards these ends, be increased by this offering of frankincense, burned before you now, and if it pleases you. Diana, it is done. You are called Asclepius, the bringer of health, physician, healer, lover of humanity, the gentle son of radiant Apollo, long known by the people of Trica and the island of Kos. You are welcome to Rome by our ancestors upon the good advice of the Sibylline books. Asclepius, unless you prefer some other name, I pray and beseech you to attend this Ludi Apollinares, celebrated for your divine father. Divine physician Asclepius, the whims of fate brought many a plague to our Roman ancestors. Our mortal frames are always eventually burdened by disease and illness. Our ancestors experienced this reality as we do today. But our ancestors were fortunate to have your favor through many such trials. Because of your assistance and gentle intervention, our ancestors overcame plagues of historic proportions. Asclepius, lover of humanity, on this Ludi Apollinares, celebrated for your radiant father Apollo, and if it is your will, grant your aid to all who identify as Roman today, especially those who are facing hardship, in particular those who face sickness or fear for their health. Protect the members of the Roman community of today from any disease or pestilence that may threaten them. For our community members burdened by disease or the pains of poor health, relieve their suffering with your kind love, wisdom, and aid. Allow our Roman community today to thrive in the face of illness and always overcome stronger and healthier. towards these ends, be increased by this offering of frankincense, burned before you now, and if it pleases you. Asclepius, it is done. O Apollo, and you Janus, Jupiter, Quirinus, Diana, Asclepius, and Vesta, and all the gods of heaven and earth, I call you to witness this Ludi Apollinares. Apollo, also known as the Radiant Light, twin of Diana, healer, aider, and protector, towards these ends and in recognition of you, I observe this festival of the Ludi Apollinares, held in honor of you and your divine and ever bright majesty. For these reasons, towards this aim, in recognition of your benevolence, and if it pleases you, accept this offering of myrtle, which I have placed before you and give unto you. In preparation of receiving this myrtle, which is marked sacred for you, we ask all the gods and goddesses who attended this ceremony, of which it is pious to invoke, to purify this humble offering. Towards this request, we now offer this pure water before you, and may this offering of myrtle be purified on your behalf. In this act, we mark this offering to be sacred for you by this good and humble water. O Apollo, the magnificent shining one, if this offering of myrtle pleases you, offer your aid towards all who identify as Roman today, especially those who are facing hardship, in particular those who face violence directed towards them or struggle with persecution, natural disaster, sickness, uncertainty, or despair. O Apollo, also smile upon our leaders, who have the power and burden to act in the event of such hardship, persecution, natural disaster, sickness, uncertainty, or despair. In particular, upon this petition, we ask you to assist the following individuals: all the citizens and members of the Publica Romana community. Radiant Apollo, if you will it, protect your Publica Romana community from harm that may threaten it over the year ahead. Rise up those who face cruelty or injustice, provide those individuals with endurance, and make them aware of what your kind benevolence and aid can do. In disaster, make known your light, and allow for what was damaged to be restored better than it was. In sickness, allow the scourge of physical ailment to be tossed off, and the joys of health to be enjoyed for many long days and nights. For our leaders, can you enact your will, and let them hear your beautiful song, feel your kind warmth, and take awe in your wisdom and light. Have them enact your will on earth. In doing so, allow our modern Roman community to become one of your instruments of virtue, to be seen and emulated by all peoples. O Apollo, who watches the heavens, we ask you to attend these Ludi Apollinares if it honors you. Be with us as we celebrate and glorify your divine sovereignty. In doing so, allow all who partake in the Ludi to know you better and be compelled to be ennobled with you further and offer you good offerings and the pious smoke of sacrifice. O Apollo, the radiant light, twin of Diana, healer, aider, and protector, watcher of the heavens and the magnificent shining one, we offer you this myrtle now, given up to you towards the appeal made before you. Radiant Apollo, be strengthened by this offering of myrtle presented before you now. If you will it, make it so. Let us recall the histories. At Rome, alarm was excited at the first intelligence of the renewal of hostilities by the Carthaginians. The accounts of prodigies arrived just at the time of the news of the revival of the war and caused great alarm. At Cumae, the orb of the sun seemed diminished, and a shower of stones fell, and the earth sank to great chasms, and the trees were swallowed up in the cavities. Amid these events, an unusually great rising of waters occurred as the Tiber overflowed its banks to such a degree that as the circus was underwater. Thus, the Apollinarian games were established near the Temple of Venus. However, the weather suddenly cleared on the very day of the celebration. The procession, which had begun to move from the Colonnade Gate, was recalled and transferred to the circus. On it being known that the water had retired, the joy of the people and the attraction of the games were increased by the restoration of the solemn spectacle to its proper scene. Again, it is written, about 5,000 volunteers of the Romans and allies who had served out their campaigns under the command of Publius Africanus attended the consul at his departure and gave in their names. At the time in which the consul set out to war during the celebration of the Apollinarian Games on the 5th day before the Ides of July, through the sky was serene, the light was obscured in the middle of the day when the moon passed beneath the orb of the sun. Thus it was written, it was stated by some of the ancient annalists that these ludi were instituted for the purpose of obtaining from Apollo the protection of human life during the hottest season of summer. That the Apollinarian Games were instituted partly to obtain the aid of Apollo in expelling the Carthaginians from Italy, and partly to preserve, to the favor of the god, the republic from all dangers. The oracle suggested that games should be held every year. Spectators were adorned with garlands, and each citizen gave a contribution towards defraying the expenses. The Roman families performed supplications. The people cooked their meals at open doors the whole day. So it was then, and so it shall be today. We embrace the joy and radiant warmth of Apollo, with us today as he was with our ancestors. With the ever-reliable return of Apollo, we note good faith, we note justice, we note duty. May we, as loyal clients, take note and follow suit. All worthy of Apollo's bay, whether in a passionate roll, pouring new worlds he burst away beyond control. Then, if my voice can aught avail, grateful for him our prayers have won. Many songs shall echo, hail, all hail, auspicious sun. Let it be known, let it be known, let it be known. Magnificent, shining one, radiant Apollo, good prayers and fine offerings have been made in your name. We beseech you to hear our petitions and make note of the kind acts made today in honor of you for your Ludi Apollinares. We turn our eyes, ears, and mind to Savior Apollo, observe for the signs, contemplate benevolence, as it was in the past, may it be today, with Apollo willing. Blessed Janus, if the appeals and offerings made in this ceremony have caused unbeknownst offense, please accept my deep regret and recall my good intentions towards you. Divine Janus, towards these ends, accept this additional offering of wine, which I place before you as a sign of my reverence and goodwill towards you. Blessed Jupiter, if the appeals and offerings made in this ceremony have caused unbeknownst offense, please accept my deep regret and recall my good intentions towards you. Father Jupiter, towards these ends, accept this additional offering of wine, which I place before you as a sign of my reverence and goodwill towards you. Blessed Quirinus, if these appeals and offerings made in this ceremony have caused unbeknownst offense, please accept my deep regret and recall my good intentions towards you. Father Quirinus. Towards these ends, accept this additional offering of wine, which I place before you as a sign of my reverence and goodwill towards you. Blessed Diana, if the appeals and offerings made in this ceremony have caused unbeknownst offense, please accept my deep regret and recall my good intentions towards you. Celestial Diana, towards these ends, accept this additional offering of wine, which I place before you as a sign of my reverence and goodwill towards you. Blessed Asclepius, if the appeals and offerings made in this ceremony have caused unbeknownst offense, please accept my deep regret and recall my good intentions towards you. Divine Asclepius, towards these ends, accept this additional offering of wine, which I place before you as a sign of my reverence and goodwill towards you. Blessed Apollo, if the appeals and offerings made in this ceremony have caused unbeknownst offense, please accept my deep regret and recall my good intentions towards you. Divine Apollo, towards these ends, accept this additional offering of wine, which I place before you as a sign of my reverence and goodwill towards you. Mother Vesta, or unless you prefer some other names, it is right to offer you thanks and honor as you provide the flame during this ceremony. Towards my gratitude, be strengthened by additional libation of wine now made before you. Divine Vesta, if I have done anything to disrupt tradition and insult, I implore you to kindly receive and accept this additional wine, which is now presented before you and expiation of my error. Go now. This ceremony is concluded. With Pax Deora, may these prayers and petitions be made tangible. The Ludi Apollinares of the year Sextus Decio Quintus Furio. The consulship of Sextus Decimus and Quintus Furius is hereby enacted by the kind divine will of Apollo, by all the moral hands of the Roman Republic, and in particular the Praetor Aulus Julius Caesar and Praetor Tiberius Terentius Vera. Hail Apollo, all hail the aider and protector. Hail, radiant Apollo.